What is up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to another video. Sorry, it's been a long time since the last time I posted a video on YouTube. I've been a little bit busy doing a couple of things for the channel. I've been doing also a couple of things for VehicleTribe, related to VehicleTribe. So more news about that in the next couple of videos. But yes, I'm back. I'm finally back after a month. I think it's been a month already. I'm sorry, guys, the camera just fell down. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm a little bit rusty. Gotta get back to it and get used to the camera. Also, I found this little spot right here. It's pretty nice. I think this place is still under construction, so that's why there's not too many people in here. But I love this place, and I think we're gonna do more videos in here until they start doing something. And in today's video, we're gonna be talking about top 5 things that you should look into when buying a Jeep like this. So let's say you saved a little bit of money, you went online, start searching for a Jeep like this, and you have your top choices, and then you're gonna go and test drive it, right? I'm gonna give you my top 5 things that you should look into when buying a Jeep like this, and let's get right into it. Alright, guys, so the first thing, be patient. Don't go crazy about it. Just wait for the right car, wait for the right Jeep. Sometimes we make the mistake of, you know, being overexcited about something and then just go after it when it's probably not the best choice. Before getting into Jeeps, I was looking for a sport car. I was looking around, and for some reason, I just fell in love with Mazda 2004 RX-8. And I didn't do my research beforehand, and I didn't know what to expect about Mazda's RX-8. So I knew about the rotary engine, and I knew all about that, but I didn't know that they were so bad, so unreliable. And I saw one that the guy was selling for $4,000, and I went after it. I just fell in love with it. It was blue, very, very nice. And I just bought it. The car had multiple problems. I think after 7 months or 6 months of having it, the car started to lose compression and wouldn't turn on. It was a mess. It was a complete mess. Thank God I got rid of it, and now I learned my lesson. Another thing before getting into the specifics of this particular Jeep, when I buy a car, when I buy a Jeep, I try to go for something that is stock or close to stock. I don't like modifications on any of my cars. I'd rather do the modifications myself, because you never know who did the modifications and if they did it right. Alright, so now that we know the basic stuff, let's get into the Jeep and let's talk about specific points on this Jeep that you should look into. Alright, and let's start with number 1, and probably the most common problem on these Jeeps, and that is rust. I'm gonna show you a couple of places where you're gonna find rust. There are certain little spots of rust in the vehicle, and if you see like big holes of rust, you're probably gonna start looking into other options. So let me show you a couple of places. For example, my Jeep, although it looks very clean and everything, it has some rust. For example, this area right here, you see that little spot right here? If you're looking, let's say, stock Jeep, you're gonna see the plastic cover, and it's probably gonna be harder to find that spot. My advice is to go under and take a look at that specific area right here. Now, as you can see, this one is not a big of a deal. It's just a little spot right there, and honestly, it doesn't bother me too much. But I've seen worse cases. I've seen the whole area right here full of rust. Definitely a place to look at. The other side, it's even worse. Let me show you. This side is even worse. You see that hole right there? That's a very common place where you can find rust. Another important area, and probably the worst area in my particular case. Now in this one you won't be able to see it because I put an aftermarket fender flares. The stock fender flare will hold water in there, and because of that, you're gonna have rust in this area right here. So definitely take a look at this one. In my particular case, as I told you, this one was the worst part. So another important part is underneath the Jeep. There are certain areas where you're gonna find rust. For example, my 2 drive shafts, front and back, they have surface rust, and honestly, I don't care about that. It is a very thick piece of metal, and it's just surface rust, which I don't care too much about it. But definitely take a look at the floor of the vehicle itself, because that is very important. Another problem is overheating on these Jeeps. All right, very, very, very common on these Jeeps, and very serious. I don't think the person selling the Jeep will tell you if the Jeep is being overheating or not. So that's why you should do your best to find any signs of overheating on the Jeep. Take it for a good test drive. Make sure the Jeep goes to working temperature, and take a look at the temperature of the Jeep. It should be working at 210 all the time. when you take it on highway, when you take it on the streets, it should be at 210. If you see that the Jeep is overheating just by driving it, it's definitely not a good sign. So that's my advice. Take it for a ride and see if there is any overheating problems. The problem with overheating is if you get it on time and you fix a problem, that's it. Problem fixed, and you can continue to drive the Jeep for the longest time. No problems at all. The problem is that if the previous owner has been driving the Jeep like that, overheating for quite some time, that might probably cause damage to the internals of the engine, and you don't want that. You don't want one of these engines to go bad on you, because what are you gonna do? Replace the engine, put a new engine into it? It's gonna be more money. Chances are you're gonna be paying more money for the engine and installation than what you're gonna be paying for the Jeep itself. So my advice to you, if you see the Jeep is overheating, just, you know, stay away from that. Alright guys, another thing that you want to consider when buying a Jeep XJ is the year. If you're gonna go with the newer models, let's say 1997 to 2001, you need to know that there is a difference. There's a lot of people that don't like 2000, 2001 year productions. My Jeep in particular is 2000. I haven't had any problem with it. I think in 2000 they changed the head gasket on these Jeeps, and there are problems associated with head gaskets. There's a lot of overheating problems. There is a lot of heat soaks on the 2000s and 2001. I mean, it's definitely something that you have to consider. My Jeep is a 2000 and it has 170,000 miles on it, and it doesn't have any problem with the head gasket. There are other things like suspension components and all that. Obviously, if you're not planning on modifying the Jeep at all, yeah, it is something that you have to consider. If you see the Jeep is a little bit lower on the back, my Jeep, I remember when I bought it, it was a little bit lower in the back, and that was because one of the lift springs was broken, was completely broken, and that causes the Jeep to, you know, go down a little bit on the back. But I never planned on keeping the Jeep stock, so that wasn't a big of a deal for me. But anyways guys, I think parts for this Jeep are very, very inexpensive. So even if the suspension parts are bad or going bad, I don't think it's a big of a deal. I think you can replace them. Alright, so I have one more thing for you guys. I am a big interior guy. I really like to have my interior in a very nice condition. You know, they usually are in a very good shape. There is no reason why the Jeep should be destroyed on the interior. Just take a look at the interior of the Jeep and make sure the person that had it before you and that is selling it now, you know, took a good care of the Jeep, because that tells you a lot about the owner. One more thing, very, very important, is in the next video we're gonna be talking about the next modification for the Jeep, something that I'm very, very excited about, so you guys can't miss that. We're gonna be talking about what's gonna be the next thing, the next step on the Jeep, and in the next video we're gonna be starting with the installation, the actual installation of whatever I have next for the Jeep. So very, very nice. I'm super, super excited about. It's probably one of the parts that I'm more excited about, so stay tuned for that one. I'm not sure when I'm gonna be posting this video, but after I post this video in the next 2 days, the other video will come out. So that's it guys, that's the video for today. I hope you guys like this video. As always, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and I see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.